Children, now let us start the new chapter, the human eye and colorful world. We have learned in the previous chapter about light and also about the lenses. And also we have studied about the reflection of light through the lenses and mirror. We also study the nature, position and relative size of the images found by the lenses. And in this chapter, let us discuss about the human eye and also some optical phenomenon in nature like rainbow formation, splitting of white light, blue color of the sky, etc. Rainbow formation, splitting of white light, blue color of the sky, these are the some of the natural optical phenomena in nature. And the rainbow formation in nature. And also twinkling of stars. Twinkling of stars. That is also one of the effect of the refraction of light. And now let us about the human eye. And you know that human eye is one of the part of our body which enables us to see the things around us. It is one of the most valuable and sensitive sense organ. It is one of the remarkable optical instrument in our body. It enables us to see the wonderful world. Eye helps us to see the colors around us. On closing the eyes, we can identify objects to some extent by their smell, by their taste, by the sound they make or by touch. And it is not possible to identify colors while closing the eyes. Thus, of all the sense organs, the human eye is the most significant one as it enables us to see the beautiful, colorful world around us. So, the chapter is there, human eye and colorful world. And human eye can be compared with the camera. You know that camera is an optical instrument to take the photography of an object. Similarly, eye acts like a camera. It is also having a natural lens and natural retina. As camera is having a plastic lens and a film to catch the photography of the objects. Similarly, retina is just like a film of the camera, but it is a natural screen which catches the photo of the object in front of your eye. Children, observe the label diagram of human eye and you know that it is spherical in shape. Eyeball is spherical in shape with a diameter of about 2.3 centimeter. Its diameter is about 2.3 centimeter. And it has a tough and opaque white covering. It has a tough and opaque white covering called sclerotic, which protects and holds the eye. So, the eyeball is having tough and opaque white covering and that is called sclerotic. It protects and holds the eye. Sclerotic holds the eye. Sclerotic holds the eye and protects the eye. And also it is having cornea. Children, see the thin membrane called cornea. Light enters through this thin membrane. It is called cornea. It covers the transparent bulge on the front portion of the eyeball. It covers the transparent bulge on the front portion of the eyeball. light enters the eye through this thin membrane. Next you take choroid. What is that choroid? And eye is also having a black membrane below the sclerotic, that is the black membrane which is called the choroid. Choroid, that is a black membrane that is just below the sclerotic, just below the eyeball. It absorbs the straight light and avoids any blurring of images due to multiple reflections in the eyeball. It avoids the multiple reflection in the eye, and also by that it avoids the blurring of image. So that is the black thin layer over the eyeball. Then you know that it is a iris. Here two portions are there. They are iris, that is behind the cornea. Behind the cornea there is a iris. It is an opaque circular diaphragm. It is a opaque circular diaphragm. The color of the iris determines the color of the eyes of the person. Here iris shows the color of the eyes of the person. The iris has a central hole called the pupil. Then what is pupil? It is a central hole between the iris. So iris has a central hole that is called the pupil. And what is the function of the pupil? Due to its muscular action, the iris controls the size of the pupil and hence regulates the amount of light enters the eye. Here the size of the hole becomes smaller and greater. That is controlled by the iris. Iris controls the size of the pupil and controls the amount of light entering to the eye. In bright light, the pupil becomes small. The hole becomes small in the bright light. In dim light, the pupil opens up completely through the relaxation of the iris. Here, iris relaxes and it opens completely, and it also contracts, and the size of the pupil, or the size, that is nothing but the size of the hole, decreases if there is a bright light. Next, the important part of the eye is lens. It is a double concave lens. It is a, normally you can say it is a concave lens. It is situated behind the iris. See here there is a iris. It is situated behind the iris. It is composed of a fibrous, jelly-like material. It is a natural lens and it is a convex lens, and it is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. Contains fibrous jelly-like material. It contains fibrous jelly-like material. So the lens is held in position by suspensory ligaments and connected to the sclerotic by the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles connects the lens to the eyeball. By contracting or relaxing, the ciliary muscles can change the shape or curvature of the eye lens and hence its focal length. So that ciliary muscles can change the focal length of the eye lens. Change the focal length of the eye lens. Why the lens focal length of the lens must change here? that is according to the distance of the object, and you know that here we can't change the screen of the eye. We can't change the retina of the position of the retina of the eye. So here the focal length of the lens must be changed according to the distance of the object. So the focal length can be changed by ciliary muscles. So ciliary muscles help the lens to change its focal length according to the distance of the object. So this ability of the eye lens to change its focal length is called accommodation. This enables the eye lens to focus the image of the object at different distances on the retina of the eye. You know that retina acts as a screen. Always the image of the object falls on the retina. So here you can't change the position of the object. Then by changing the focal length of the object, you will get the image on the retina. So this is done by the focal length can be changed with the help of the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles automatically changes the focal length depending upon the distance of the object from the eye. Next, about the retina. As I already said that retina acts as a screen. It is a delicate inner membrane. Retina is a thin membrane. It is an inner membrane on the back wall of the eyeball. It is a inner membrane on the back wall of the eyeball. It contains light sensitive cells called rods and cones. Retina contains light sensitive cells which are called rods and cones. So rods are sensitive to intensity of light and cones are sensitive to colors. Here the retina consists of sensitive cells. They are called rods and cones. Rods are sensitive to light and cones are sensitive to color. These cells change light energy into electrical signals which send message to the brain via the optic nerves. Here, what are the functions of rods and cones? Here, these sensitive cells, rods and cones, change light energy into electrical signals. You know that here the message of the image is to be sent to the brain to recognize the image of the object or to see the object. Then only we can see the object. Without the help of the brain, we can't see the object. So here the rods and cones change the light energy into electrical signals and these signals are sent to the brain with the help of the optic nerves. Now about the aqueous humor and vitreous humor. What is aqueous humor? Aqueous humor is a salty fluid that fills the space between the cornea and the eye lens. Here there is a aqueous humor. It is a salty fluid fills the space between the cornea and the eye lens. It is a fluid between the cornea and the eye lens. You know that here is a cornea. Up to here there is a cornea and here is a lens. And in between the cornea and the lens there is a fluid. That fluid is called the aqueous fluid. That is a salty fluid. And what is vitreous humor? Vitreous humor is a jelly-like fluid that fills the space between the retina and the eye lens. See here. Here there is a fluid. This fluid is called vitreous humor. So these are the two types of fluids. One is between the lens and the retina, that is the aqueous humor, and the other is between the lens and the retina, that is the vitreous humor. Now let us write the different parts of the eye. So take first one, eyeball, which is also called sclerotic. Eyeball, that is nothing but sclerotic. Second, cornea. Third one, choroid. Fourth, iris. And fifth one you write, that is the eyelids. That is the eyelids, that is also called crystalline lens. Crystalline lens. Next, retina. In retina there are rods and cones. Rods and cones. Rods and cones. And next, aqueous humor and vitreous humor. Vitreous humor. So let us write one by one. First one you take eyeball. So the different parts of the eye are eyeball, that is also called sclerotic, cornea, choroid, that is the black membrane, iris, eye lens, which is also called crystalline lens, retina with rods and cones, aqueous humor, vitreous humor. Now let us write one by one and their function also let us take. Here what is the function of the eyeball? You know that what is eyeball? Eyeball is a spherical shaped with a diameter of about 2.3 centimeter, which is a tough and opaque white covering which protects and holds the eye. So you write eyeball is nearly spherical in shape with a diameter of about 2.3 centimeter. 2.3 centimeter. It has a tough and opaque white covering. It has a tough and opaque white covering. So you write that eyeball is nearly spherical in shape with a diameter of about 2.3 centimeter. It has a tough and opaque white covering. And what is the function of the eyeball? It holds and protects the eye. So you write it holds and protect the eye. So what is the function of the eyeball? It holds and protects the eye. Children, write the function of the eyeball. What is the function of the eyeball? What is the function of the sclerotic? It holds and protects the eye. Next, the second part, that is cornea. So what is that cornea? It is a thin membrane which covers the transparent bulge on the front portion of the eyeball. So what is cornea? It is a thin membrane which covers the transparent bulge on the front portion of the eyeball. On the front portion of the eyeball. Then what is the function of the cornea? Through the cornea, light enters the eye. So write the function. Through the cornea, light enters the eye. Through the cornea, light enters the eye. The second part is cornea. Cornea is a thin membrane which covers the transparent bulge on front portion of the eyeball. It is a thin membrane which covers the transparent bulge on the front portion of the eye. And what is its function? What is the function of the cornea? Through the cornea, light enters the eye. So cornea helps to enter the light into the eye. That is the function of the cornea. Next part, black membrane. The next part is black membrane. It is also called as choroid. It is a black colored membrane below the eyeball. Choroid is a black colored membrane below the eyeball. So it is also called black membrane. Its function is it absorbs straight light and avoids any blurring of image due to multiple reflection in the eyeball. So what is the function of the black membrane or choroid? Choroid absorbs straight light and avoids blurring of image due to the multiple reflection in the eyeball. Next, fourth part is iris. Iris is a opaque circular diaphragm behind the cornea. It is a opaque circular diaphragm behind the cornea. And what is its function? It controls the size of the pupil and hence regulates the amount of light entering the eye. It controls the size of the pupil and hence regulates the amount of light entering the eye. Then the fourth part, iris. It is a opaque circular diaphragm behind the cornea. It is a opaque circular diaphragm behind the cornea. And what is its function? Its main function is to control the size of the pupil and hence regulates the amount of light entering the eye. It controls the amount of light entering the eye by controlling the size of the pupil by contracting and expanding. The next one is eye lens. It is a double concave lens situated behind the iris, which is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. So, eye lens, that is a crystalline lens. It is a double concave lens situated behind the iris. It is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. And what is the function of the lens? This eye lens focuses the image of objects at different distance on the retina of the eye. Here, it acts as a lens and it refracts the light from the object and forms the image on the retina. Retina acts as a screen. Then about the retina. What is retina? It is a delicate inner membrane on the black wall of the eyeball. It catches the real and inverted image of the object and changes the light energy into electrical signal and send the message to the brain through the optic nerve. So, retina is just like a screen. It acts as a film. It is a delicate inner membrane on the black wall of the eyeball which acts as a screen to catch the image. So, its function is it catches the real and inverted image of the object and changes that light energy into electrical signal and send the message of the images to brain through the optic nerve. Even though inverted image is formed on the retina, brain rectifies it and you can see that is a straight image, that is the erect image of the object. So, that is with the help of the brain. Next, ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles are the muscles which connects the lens to the eyeball. These are the muscles connect the lens to the eyeball. Then the ciliary muscles. These are the muscles which connects the lens to the eyeball. And what is the function of the ciliary muscles? By contracting and relaxing, the ciliary muscles can change the curvature of the eye lens and hence change the focal length. You know that here to see the object at different distance, the eye lens must change the focal length. It is done by the contracting and relaxing of the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles contracts and relaxes and changes the focal length of the eye lens. Next, about the aqueous humor. It is a salty fluid that fills space between cornea and eye lens. And vitreous humor, it is a jelly-like fluid that fills the space between the retina and the eye lens. So, aqueous humor is a salty fluid that fills between cornea and eye lens, and vitreous humor is a jelly-like fluid that fills space between the retina and the eye lens. The next, pupil. It is a hole in the iris to enter the light. So, this hole can be made small or big, that is depending upon the intensity of the light. So, if there is a bright light, it becomes small, and if there is dim light, it becomes large. Next, about the cones and rods. Retina contains light sensitive cells called cones and rods. Cone shaped sensitive cells are called cones, and cones are sensitive to colors. Rod shaped sensitive cells are called rods. Rods are sensitive to intensity of light. These cells change the light energy into electrical signals which send message to the brain via the optic nerve. So what is the function of cones and rods? These cells change light energy into electrical signals which send messages to the brain via the optic nerves. So these are in the retina. With the help of the cones and rods, retina converts light energy into electrical signals and send the messages to the brain through the optic nerves. Children, see, here is a model of eye which shows all the parts of the eye. So see the eyeball here. Children, observe the cornea, iris, pupil, aqueous humor, crystalline lens and vitreous humor. See the black membrane and also the outer layer of the outer part of the eye, that is the eyeball, and also cornea. And also you know that retina is having light sensitive cells which helps to convert the light energy into electrical signals, and with the help of the optic nerve the message of the image is sent to the brain and brain recognizes the erect image of the object. Children, now let us discuss how the eye helps us to see the object around us. That is about the function of the eye. That is about the focusing action of the eye. You know that the transparent structure like cornea, aqueous humor, eye lens and vitreous humor together constitute a single converging lens. Even though you are taking this as a crystalline lens, totally it is a combination of cornea, aqueous humor and crystalline lens and vitreous humor. The transparent structure like cornea, aqueous humor, eye lens and vitreous humor together constitute a single converging lens. As the rays from an object enter the eye, they suffer refraction on passing successively through these structures and get converged. Here, the rays from the object enters from cornea, aqueous humor and lens, vitreous humor, and the rays of light which enters, they converges and forms a image on the retina. You know that retina is containing rods and cones. Rods converts the light energy into electrical signals, and that electrical signals are sent to the brain through the optic nerves. Even though the image formed on the retina is inverted image, our brain rectifies it as a erect image. Our brain translates the inverted image into an erect image. The brain interprets these signals and finally processes the information so that we perceive objects as they are. Children, write the functioning of eye, that is focusing action of the eye in short. The transparent structure like cornea, aqueous humor, eye lens, vitreous humor together constitute a single converging lens. The pupil regulates and controls the amount of light entering the eye. The eye lens forms an inverted real image of the object on the retina. The retina is having enormous number of light sensitive cells. The light sensitive cells get activated upon illumination and generate electrical signals. These signals are sent to the brain via the optic nerves. The brain interprets these signals and finally processes the information so that we perceive objects as they are. Write the functioning of eye in short.